In Syria, government forces have neutralized more than 400 extremists, recapturing terrorist held areas in the city of Aleppo and Idlib. British lawmakers voted on Friday in favor of a bill to help terminally ill adults end their lives in England and Wales. Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov arrived in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea on Friday for an official visit. Hello and welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll be with the news. Stay with us. In Syria, government forces have neutralized more than 400 extremists capturing terrorist held areas in the city of Aleppo and Idlib. The Syrian army court offensive has been maintained in the last 48 hours against the positions of the Jihad and Nusrat terrorist groups and its allies sponsored by Western powers. Syrian troops have carried out their operation in the towns of Aria and Sarmala, which have been under siege by the extremist fighters in the province of Idlib. As part of the siege by extremist groups, at least 4 civilians were killed by missiles at the University of the city of Aleppo. The terrorists also left more than 1,000 wounded, where the Syrian army repelled 5 rounds of attacks on the city of Anadan on the northwestern side. Hezbollah Secretary General Naim Qassem said in an address broadcast on Friday that he will work with the Lebanese army to enforce the ceasefire that the group agreed with Israel. Qassem also highlighted Hezbollah's intentions to promote natural unity and engage in the political process.
The coordination between the resistance and the Lebanese army will be at a high level to implement the commitments of the agreement. No one is betting on problems or disagreements. We will work to preserve national unity and sovereignty, maintain civil peace and strengthen Lebanon's defensive capacities. The resistance will be ready to prevent the enemy from taking advantage of Lebanon's weakness, along with our partners in the homeland. First and foremost, our national army.
Israeli occupying forces have committed 3 new massacres in the latest 24 hours in the Gaza Strip, claiming at least 33 lives and injuring 137 others. Palestinian authorities announced that Israel goes on with its genocide against civilians, killing thousands of Gazan families in the latest 24 hours. The Gaza Health Ministry briefed that since October 7, 2023, the Palestinian death toll amounted to over 4,363, while the figure of wounded surpassed 105,070 people. The Israeli regime dropped shelling on a 5-floor building Al-Saytun, Gaza's southern town, killing a young man and injuring several others on Thursday evening. Furthermore, the Israeli drones even target paramedic teams to stop them from providing medical assistance, murdering the head of the intensive care department at Kamal Aden Hospital in northern Gaza.
How many TV channels are there? Are they all blind and have dead hearts? They do not hear, see, or feel. They do not hear the screams of orphans or the screams of mothers at night, and they do not see us running and carrying bags all day long because a tank is at the door. Who do I appeal to? We are tired of meetings and programs, and we are fed up with the news. No one feels for us.
Countries around the world celebrating International Day of Solidarity with the people of Palestine in the midst of the genocidal operations carried out by the Israeli army in the Gaza Strip. On November the 29th, the international community is focused on defense and struggle for a free and independent Palestine after the approval of the Resolution 181 and 1947 in the United Nations, stipulating the creation of a Jewish state and an Arab state in Palestine. However, only a part of this reform has been accomplished, that is the creation of an Israeli state. In this way, the international community reaffirms its historical claims for an independent Palestinian state in the midst of Zionist genocide, which has claimed the life of more than 44,000 civilians since October 7, 2023. In Venezuela, an international conference in solidarity with Palestine is being held in Caracas aimed at reaffirming the South American nation's firm stance against the Zionist genocide in the region. With the participation of more than 119 delegations from 52 countries, the conference is led by President Nicolás Maduro and members of the Venezuelan executive cabinet, including Foreign Minister Ivan Gil. Precisely, Gil denounced the 76 years of the Israeli massacres that has claimed the life of millions of innocent people, urging the international community to take measures to stop the ongoing genocide. The Venezuelan Foreign Minister also affirmed the right to the Palestinian people to freedom and sovereignty.
The right of the sovereign Palestinian people to live freely on their land, to live in sovereignty, to determine their destiny, to advance in the improvement of their well-being, with their knowledge, with their wisdom, with their millenarian history.
The Cuban people also showing its solidarity with the Palestinian cause on Friday, denouncing the Zionist genocide on the region through an anti-imperialist tribute at an cultural gala. President Miguel Díaz-Canel led a tribute held in the central Cuba province of Sancti Spiritus, where thousands gathered to express the nation's unconditional support for the right of Palestine to be a free and sovereign state. In addition, in the capital Havana, a cultural event was held with the participation of national and foreign students and citizens who demanded an immediate cessation to the Israeli-occupied aggressions. This way, the Caribbean nation once again condemned the U.S. complicity in the Israeli offensive, which has caused the death of over 45,000 Palestinians since October 2023 as logged. And let's take a very short break, but remember you can join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. British lawmakers vote on Friday in favor of a bill to help terminally ill adults end their lives in England and Wales. The historic vote was achieved by 330 votes in favor to 275 against after 5 hours of passionate debate. The bill passing allows the proposed legislation to advance to the next stage of parliamentary scrutiny and approval before it becomes law. Supporters of the bill said the law will provide dignity to the dying and prevent unnecessary suffering while ensuring there are enough safeguards to prevent those near to end their life from being coerced into taking their own lives. On the other hand, opponents said it will put vulnerable people at risk, potentially coerced directly or indirectly to end their lives so they don't become a bonder. In this context, supporters of the bill dress in pink hats and hoodies celebrate at Parliament Squares the historic vote of the right to assist in dying.
A majority of MPs have voted for real change. They voted for a safer, fairer and more compassionate future for dying people. I'm incredibly relieved and overjoyed to see that.
It's only the first stage in this bill becoming law, but finally there is real hope for those who are terminally ill to have a dignified end. The UK is finally caught up to where our morals, where our compassion is. Parliament has caught up to the overwhelming majority.
Iran has informed the International Atomic Energy Agency that its plans to install more than 6,000 new centrifuges to enrich uranium. The information was included in a report issued by the United Nations Nuclear Watchdog Agency ahead of the Persian nation's talks with Britain, France and Germany in Geneva on Friday over its nuclear program. According to the report, Tehran intends to install 18 extra cascades of Erfurt centrifuges to the stamp plant, each with 166 machines. However, Iran has agreed to a demand by the UN agency to cap its stock of high enriched uranium up to only 60% purity, well below to weapons grade enriched levels of 90% needed for a bomb. Russian Defense Minister Andrei Belousov arrived in the Democratic People's Republic of Korea on Friday for an official visit. According to the Russian news agency, the objective of the visit is to boost military cooperation and strengthen the growth ties between the two nations amid international conflict and among Western sanctions. Belousov is expected to hold a number of bilateral meetings with representatives of the military and military political leadership, although the agenda of the discussion remains undisclosed.
Russia and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea are good neighbors and long-standing friends. Trusting contacts between the leaders of our countries play a key role in strengthening Russian-Korean relations.
A crane collapsed at a construction site just outside Thailand's capital on Friday and killing 3 workers and injuring 10 others. The incident occurred early on Friday morning in Samut Sakhon, west of Bangkok, when a crane building at a flyover collapsed. 3 workers died at the scene and 10 others were injured, so with some in critical conditions. A team of engineers and police are investigating the cause of the collapse, which authorities suspect was caused by an overload grinder. The government of Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni faces a second general strike summoned by the country's largest trade unions on Friday. The General Italian Confederation of Labor and Italian Labor of Union called for a rally against the 2025 general budgets. In addition, they are demanding pay rises, including pensions, ramping up funds for health, education, and public services.
The government has ordered us to work to prevent us from striking, after passing a budget law without consulting the unions in any way. They want our silence, and they want to enforce it by force. Today, we will show that workers can stand up for themselves and fight against a government that is against workers.
We are out here with all the workers to protest against this financial bill, which fails to provide contracts with adequate economic recognition for all workers, including those in healthcare and beyond. Our demands are for the renewal of contracts, lowering taxes, and implementing tax rate that don't take away half of your salary.
Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch an interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. From financial break, don't go away. Welcome back. Gabon's Constitutional Court validated a referendum vote which overwhelmingly approved a new constitution, paving the way for a presidential election set for next August. The referendum had been held 2 weeks ago, 15 months after the military coup that brought to the end of the 56-year-long rule of the Bongo family in the African nation. The 173 article of the new constitution includes a 7-year mandate renewable only once, a presidential regime with strong executive power and with a prime minister and a ban on the dynastic transmission of power. Thousands of Amazon workers protest or strike in more than 20 countries during Black Friday to press for better working rights and climate actions from the U.S. retailers. Workers and representatives from unions and worker groups joined protests against the saddle-based companies' practices being Black Friday and Cyber Monday, one of the biggest shopping weekends of the year. Actions is planned in big cities across the U.S., Germany, UK, Turkey, Canada, India, Japan, Brazil, among other countries.
We came in the seats because this should be reached to the parliament, this should be reached to the media houses, this should be reached to the general public, that when you order something through apps and the things come to you in just one click away, there is a reality going in the background at every step of the packaging, delivering, the work is getting started. So that's why we are on the streets.
If you look at the working conditions there, it is bad. The way of getting the work done there is that one has to achieve a lot of targets. Our basic salary is $119, which should be at least a minimum of $295. And the environment there is to work under pressure.
Moving on, in southern Thailand, floodings triggered by 3 days of heavy rains killed one person and displaced thousands with more days of rain forecast. The head of the Nara Traiwada Province Department of Disasters Prevention and Mitigation, Wasan Shaitada Wewund, reported that the floods killed one student and displaced more than 2,700 people. The official added that the prolonged rains also forced the suspension of 65 local schools. In Colombia, a building collapse in Barranquilla has resulted in the death of a woman and the rescue of 4 children from the rubble. Colombian military officials confirmed the incident, which took place in a resident area of the city. Emergency response teams worked to locate and extract the children who were found alive amidst the debris.
I saw parts of the walls coming down, but I didn't really believe the building was going to collapse. I looked out several times to check. Sometimes I could see it tilting, but I thought it was the effect of the light or something. But when I went out to look for my wife, my sister called to tell me that the building had collapsed.
Also in Colombia, the government moved forward in the legislation for the distribution of land among rural women. The initiative seeks to promote the social and economic welfare of the sector and is part of the initiative towards an agrarian reform in the country and close to the gender gap. Decree 1386, signed by President Petro, Vice President Francia Marquez, and Minister of Agriculture Martha Carvalho. The regulation establishes, among other things, that the Minister of Agriculture and the Rural Development Agency will provide assistance in the structuring, promotion, and management of resources for rural women at an individual, family, or the community level. Also, beneficiaries will be able to access preferential lines of credit to finance their activities. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials, on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.